Hi, what's up, everybody? It's your host, Tanya. Thank you for coming back again this week to On the Town with Tanya. I appreciate you. So today's guest is author of Going the Wrong Way, the tale of a young Belfast man's journey as he sets off on his Moto Guzzi Le Mans, if I can say it right, to find himself, and the road to Australia. What could possibly go wrong? Well, he's here with us to tell us. Please welcome author Christopher Donaldson. Hi.
Hi, Tanya. Great to be here.
How are you?
Great.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being with us. I appreciate you. So your book, Going the Wrong Way. Let me see if I can pull it up actually, because then people, I think they can see it, but I'm not sure how much the eye can see of that. So just in case they can't, I want them to see it. Guys, that's the book, okay? Going the Wrong Way. You can get it on Amazon.
That's me too.
Yes, that's you when you were young, huh?
Yeah,
I mean, what can go wrong? 50,000 miles?
I haven't changed much, have I?
No, you look great. You do look great, seriously. But look, 50,000 miles, you travel across the world on your Moto Guzzi Le Mans. Whoa, through 33 countries. 20 years old, I think it says you was. Wow.
Yeah.
For a spiritual transition, tell us about that. What inspired you to write this book?
Well, I suppose it starts back in the 70s in Belfast. I was brought up in Belfast in Northern Ireland. And it wasn't a great place to be brought up in those days. There was bombs going off and civil war sort of going on. So like most kids at my age, we decided to get out of town. And I decided to ride a motorbike to Australia because that's what I was into, motorbikes, and I wanted to see a bit of the world and have a bit of an experience. So 79, I left Belfast to go as far as London, and then the Ayatollah Khomeini took over the American embassy in Tehran. So that sort of cut off my route east. But I'd been planning to do this trip for about 3 years, so I ended up had to go somewhere. I couldn't go back home after 2 weeks. Everybody would have laughed at me too much. Okay. So I ended up driving down through the Middle East, across the Sahara, down to Cape Town in the middle of apartheid. I sailed in a yacht back to Europe, and then shipped a bike over the States. Traveled around to Canada, across Canada, down to New York, through New York to North Carolina, and then on down to Mexico and down to South America. So I left to go to Australia, and I ended up in Argentina.
How did that happen?
That's the name of the book.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Wow.
But what I didn't realize at the time was, it was all chaotic. It was obviously pre-internet, and when you're traveling, somebody would buy a guidebook and maps and that sort of thing. But I left out all my stuff was for Asia and India, so I had no information at all. I was totally going blind down through Africa and South America, which, as I say, was a bit chaotic, but it was actually made the journey because it's very unusual to go somewhere to travel that you don't actually know where you're going. You're just traveling for the sake of traveling. Right. Anytime you're going somewhere, you're going to work, going on holiday, you're going to see a friend. You're always going somewhere if you're traveling. But so it's quite a unique way to live. It's more like an itinerant, or gypsy, or whatever you want to call it in the States. I don't know. But it's a great way. I realized it was a great way of traveling, some great experiences. And I should write a book about it.
That's which at what point did something said, I got to tell about this experience because this has been a lot.
Yeah, and it was on the way through Africa, through America. I realized it was quite a transformational experience I was going through. So I started writing the book. But then when I got home, I found out there was another guy who had written a book just before me, doing much the same thing. A guy called Ted Simon had written a book called Jupiter's Travels. And he was about 45. I was 21. He was a professional journalist, and I was just a student, really. So I sort of gave up and thought there was no point in me writing a book. I'd been not very smart and realized that the book I would write, being a 21-year-old, would be totally different from a 45-year-old.
Absolutely.
Even when you're in the same place, it's a completely different experience. So 3 or 4 years ago, I decided, let's get this book finished.
Wow.
which it was quite a great experience for me to go through my journals, go through my diaries, and reminisce that I'd written 40 odd years ago when I was a 22-year-old.
Right.
Now 60, 66.
Mhm.
So I was able to look at the young man that I was and see what I was thinking and see what I was doing to get in and out of these situations that I was in. So I think that's actually given a nice layer of authority and maturity out to what the book would have been otherwise, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, the book covers like a lot of themes of like self-discovery, and all the challenges I guess you face. So, but how much is autobiographical versus fictionalized?
It's all it all happens.
All story. Wow, that's amazing. And
Yeah.
and I figured that because it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't, right? In this book, you explore going the wrong way in like different contexts, right? But
Mhm.
what does the concept really mean to you, and how did you hope the readers would interpret it?
Well, as I said, started off as went in the wrong direction as such that I planned to do, but actually it's a bit more in depth than that. I would sort of study the fact that going a different way, I suppose the road less traveled is more of a sort of generic term for it, is going a different way from the crowds to see things without people around them, to go to think about something in a different angle.
Mm-hmm.
Which usually makes it harder to do. People usually go the easy route, if it's a job or if they're driving somewhere, whatever you're doing, you usually pick the easiest, the quickest, the less hassle route.
Yes.
But if you go the other way that people don't go, you're going to see more about what the countryside is, meet more people, and learn
Yes.
more about yourself.
Wow. What and then the Moto Guzzi, I mean, how reliable was that?
Well, Moto Guzzi Le Mans, you're probably not into motorcycles.
I am
But,
actually.
oh,
I
yeah.
don't know that one like I would Harley, but I'm actually.
Yeah, well, it's an Italian bike, V twin, but it's more tuned. My bike was more tuned to sort of racing around the streets, to
Okay.
the clubs and cafes, picking up girls in the back and having a good time rather than long distance
like
overland.
a nicer Vespa.
Yeah, so it was more like a Ferrari of cars.
Right.
Le Mans was a hot rod in its day. And people sort of laughed at me, what are you taking that for? But actually, it's a very strong bike, great engine, and quite lightweight as well, so it could haul it about quite well.
Wow.
I did a few modifications to it.
Nice.
But the interesting story about the bike is that I brought it back from South America and kept it over the years.
Wow.
And then when I published the book a couple of years ago, one of my mates said, well, you never actually got to Australia, why not have another go? Wow. So I thought, well, why not? So I thought, well, I'll take my old bike. As I'm going to do it, might as well have the old bike doing it. So last year, I actually arrived in Australia after 43 years.
You did it?
Yeah, finally got there.
Oh, that's another book.
So that's another book, yeah.
I finally made it.
So the first book is a coming of age story, but the second book is going to be a coming of old age story.
Right. I mean, this is brilliant. I love it. I think everybody has a book in them, and if we traveled more, we have more books.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I just wanted to. One of the reasons I did the old bike, my old self, is just to see if I could actually do what I did when I was 21 at the age of 66. It's 21. You're obviously at the start of your working life, your adult life, married, having kids, having responsibilities and stuff.
Yeah.
So I like to think now at this age 66, that's all gone, finished, you can retire and do. Wow. But the worry about that is, are you fit and healthy enough to do what you want to do?
That's what I was going to ask. What in the comparison of the two, what do you find was the best thing about being 2020 and the best thing about being 66?
Well, the best thing about being 66 is, I suppose, there's a bit of experience and a bit of knowledge to stop me doing as many stupid things as I did when I was 21.
Yes, I can imagine.
But no. Or she's 21, you just go, I'm going there anyway.
No, she's not good for you.
Nobody's going to tell me not to do that,
Exactly.
So 21, I probably had a lot more fun when I was 21.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I did have a lot more fun when I was 21. There's no probably in it.
I can imagine. Now, that depends. I know some 66-year-olds that will have just as much fun as a 21-year-old.
That's
So,
true.
depends.
Well, I mean, it was difficult enough because I'm sort of still working. I'm married, a couple of kids, so I can't just disappear for a year in one go. So what we did was we left and we'd drive for 2 weeks, leave the bike somewhere, and then come back to work for a couple of months, and then go fly back out again and pick them up and go on.
Wow. What was the most prevalent thing you can think of that happened at 21? Like the most impressionable person you met in all your travels? Like what country? Oh my gosh, it was in Africa or Canada, wherever, that you met the most, whatever person.
It's a hard one out because I met fantastic people all over the world, and the nice thing about the internet age with Facebook,
Yes.
is I've been able to track down. Girls very good keeping in touch with people they met and sending Christmas cards and whatever, but boys are generally a bit too sexist. We don't give a damn. We just sort of see you later, guys, So I've been able to track down 3 or 4 of the people that I've traveled with 40 years ago. There's a guy in Israel called, I hadn't spoken to these guys once for 40 years.
Wow.
And I was able to call and see them and meet some fantastic people.
You guys should have took a picture together, like do a Zoom picture together.
Yeah, we probably should have done a bit more of that.
Background. Yeah. I mean, this is like fantastic stuff to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm.
One of the stories was a guy in Scotland had given me his address. But he only gave me his first name. He didn't give me a second name.
Okay.
And his little village in Tannadice, so a small village up in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
And last year happened to be in Scotland. My daughter's at university up there. I saw this Tannadice. I thought, I must call and see. I'm sure he's not there anymore. I'll call to see if it was just by chance. Mm-hmm. And the house the old school house, was somebody else living there. About 4 or 5 changes probably since he'd been there.
Uh-huh.
But the postmaster just said, well, it's a guy called Godfrey used to live there. I thought, well, the name I have is Jeffrey. It couldn't be the same family. You wouldn't have a Godfrey and a Jeffrey. You wouldn't call your kids that, would you? Sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So I managed to track him down, but he had his address, and it was the same guy. He gave me his first name, which was wrong. Mm-hmm. His name was Godfrey, and I managed to track him down to the wilds of Scotland after 40 years. So wonders of internet, or so you're always somewhere in the undergrid,
That's great, though. I love stuff like that. I have pen pals from about 40, 50. I don't even know how many years ago. I'm not going to tell my age. But a long time ago, when I used to model, I have friends that I met in Paris long time ago. And we're still friends. I can't believe it. And some of us, we found each other on Facebook. So it does happen. And that was an adventure for me. The book that you wrote is kind of like my story of like the part. Because when you're finding yourself, especially in your 20s, oh my gosh, I mean, geez. So, so much things have happened or haven't happened. You might have lived a very boring life. And now you all of a sudden just go out to this big new world where there's all these people from the world in the world.
Yeah, that's scary. Yeah, I think the youngest person actually driven around the world is about 22. So.
Oh, really?
That was quite recently. So, but in those days you didn't care about things like that. You were just riding around for the fun of it, the sake of it, learning about the world, learning about yourself.
Right. Oh, wow. Well, that's just. I wish I want to read the rest of it. I've got to speed read, but I need to read all of it because it's very interesting. I love adventure stories. I'm a fan of any kind of adventure story that are true. Biographical. What was there a particular message or theme that you wanted to convey to readers through the protagonist's journey, through your journey?
I guess the main thing was not to give up in certain circumstances go against you. A lot of times when I was trying to cross borders in Africa and even in South America,
oh right,
you would be up against obstacles that seem to be impenetrable. Mm-hmm. But there's always a way around them. Physical obstacles like the Sahara Desert.
Oh, the
Sahara.
Wow.
Some days
you want to cross there by yourself?
Well, no, there's a couple of other vehicles. There's 2 different nationalities. A Land Rover, a couple of Danish guys, and a Canadian couple. And so there's about 6 vehicles went over. Um, you'd be be mad to try and do it on your own. You need a backup for one of the
Yeah.
vehicles actually did break down. We had to abandon it.
Wow.
It was pretty hectic. So these days, big manufacturers make what they call adventure bikes, which are sort of like Land Cruisers, are made for going over rough ground and so on. My bike was before they had bikes like that, so it was totally on the wrong bike to take on a trip like that across the desert. But we made it okay.
Wow. Well, you made it. That's wow. That's crazy. That's such an adventure. I'm thinking like of myself at 20 doing, I mean, I did some crazy things, so I can imagine this because it's just some people would not actually believe the stories that went on. You're like, no way. It's like you met a sheik. Yeah, I met a sheik, or whoever it is, whatever your brings you to, and you never know where it's going to bring you to. That's the exciting part, I think, for me.
Yeah. Well, stupidity goes a long way whenever you're 21.
Yes, try that now. You're right. You're right. Even though I'm still adventurous because I believe whoever you are at 20 is who you are at 80. It's just that people usually put stifles on you, or your health has failed, or you don't have the same circumstance, same money. You know what I'm saying? That's the only difference. I have friends here now, I'm 75 years old, who they're way more fun than the 20-year-olds I know. I mean, literally.
I think so.
Going
I
out.
find that especially whenever you meet somebody you haven't seen them for 40 years, but you were great friends 40 years ago.
Right.
You made them sit down, have a beer, and before you know it, you're chatting away as if you've been no time at all apart. You know, the same guys, same chat, same sense of humor, and life goes on. You know.
Exactly. I don't put people over 50, 60, because I'm going to be one, in any category, because I really do believe it's really a matter of that person, how they, keep themselves. That's it. That's it. There's no difference between me at 20 than at 80, except I look better at 20. But
there is that.
at 20, I must say that I'm doing all right for almost 60. I can't complain. The book talks about, touches on the complexity of like your personal choices and regrets. What do you think the role of failure is in personal growth?
Well, failure's always there. It's happened plenty of times to me because I've very often taken a more difficult route than I should have done. I think it's something you should be positive of. Americans are usually pretty good at that. They say if you haven't failed, you haven't tried.
Exactly.
But the main thing is to try again. I mean, as I say, crossing the desert, to try and cross the Sahara Desert on a road bike, I can't remember, 500 miles, 700 miles on sand and no road. If you think about it like that, it's just impossible. You're never going to do it. But if you think if we can do it if I can ride the bike for half an hour, then stop for a rest and see how we get on, and then I'll do another half hour after that, but break it down into bite-sized pieces, and it's not such a big deal,
Right.
It's totally in the mind. You still got to cross 500 miles of desert, but it puts it in an acceptable sort of form of a challenge that you could take up without blowing your mind, without saying, no, we're just not going to do that,
Right. Now I have a question, because things are different now. You take all these shots and everything to get to different countries, But back then, I know you could slip by a few places without doing much if you knew how to do it. Take a boat, yacht, or whatever. Did you face any kind of illnesses?
Yeah, well, usually just tummy rot in Africa, places like that, but generally not until I got to Peru. And I got some sort of hepatitis. I was laid down pretty bad for a couple of weeks.
Okay, yeah.
That's why I ended up in Argentina instead of I was going to go down to Chile, down the bottom of South America.
Okay.
And I realized, well, it's not that much down there anyway, and I spent too much money and getting laid up for a couple of weeks, and the bike was going, it was half wrecked or practically
What did you do about healthcare there? Like your parents helped you, or like you just wrote it out and like literally?
You just sweated it out, I didn't have enough money for doctors, no healthcare, no insurance, no
right.
And even to phone home. I mean, in Egypt, you sort of forget how easy it is now. Last year when I was traveling through Indonesia, if you want to phone home, you just go on WhatsApp, and practically anywhere in the world you can phone home for free, as long as you got Wi-Fi.
Right.
Whereas 40 years ago, I remember going into Cairo, booking it, to book a 5-minute telephone call, it costs about $5 at that stage. It's probably about $50 now.
Yeah.
And that was for 5 minutes. And
Right.
it was a 5-minute phone call to your parents they haven't spoken to for 3 months. It's just going to annoy people, you know.
Yeah,
So
I never talked to anybody on the state side. I was abroad. They'd be like, she died. I don't know.
so it's one of the things certainly that was has changed. I mean, the internet has made a huge change to travel to so many things and everything you do.
Yeah, you can document everything now, and I mean it's great. You can bring a camera and make a document. I mean, this is it's fabulous now. But I do still like the organicness of when there was nothing. Like this is it. You got people and yourself. That's it. That's all you have.
You know, I remember a couple of different places it would be. You call in a hotel or guest house or something for the evening. Be sitting there having a beer, and you want to sit and talk to people, and you look around, and everybody's on their cell phones, sending a picture, putting their pictures onto Facebook, and you just think, well, what's the point of that? You should be here experiencing where you are, rather than sending people home, people that you don't even know, photographs that they don't care about. You know.
Yes, I noticed that people do that a lot less in Europe than they do in America. I hate to say it. A lot.
I haven't noticed. Well, I haven't been to the States for a while, but they do it a lot here too. You know,
they are doing a lot. You're in Belfast, so yeah, okay, so yeah. Oh, well, where I've seen in London, I haven't seen it too much, and in Paris, when people are engaged, they're engaged. If they're at the museum, you're at the museum. You know, there are a few stragglers that are like, but most, if you go compare it to when I go, you know, anywhere else, or if I go to America, you'll see people at the dinner table with their cell phones. Like, like what are you?
They're talking to their cell phones rather than talking to the guy sitting across the way from them.
Yeah,
you know,
it doesn't make sense to me.
People have been married for 40 years, you know, but all the same.
Yeah, it's a great distraction, I call it. Yeah, great diversion is that's it, diversion. What was the what was the hardest part about writing going the wrong way, especially after so long?
Well, funny enough, I thought it might be a problem, but I had my journals and my photographs as well. And when you start writing about something, it's surprising how much is in your brain somewhere, but it just can't come out because it's been sort of suffocated with 40 years of rubbish that's been put on top of it in the last while you're living your life. Yeah. But it's all in there somewhere, you know. The more I thought about it, the more you wrote. And it's like talking to somebody, do you remember such and such?
Right.
And you've probably forgotten all about it, but when somebody gives you a few hints, you remember, it all comes back again, you know?
Right.
So remembering, I mean, you couldn't remember the conversations and stuff, but you remember how you felt and what you were doing and what it looked like and so on. Wow. But I mean, I'm not a natural writer as such. I didn't do English. Well, I did English just at high school level, not university or anything like that. So my English teachers would be rolling in their graves if they knew that I'd written a best-selling novel, you know.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that I am coming from a complete blind start, it's made it quite a earthy about home. I've hit home with a lot of things. A lot of people have enjoyed reading it. The book's got 1,400 five-star reviews on Amazon.
I saw that.
Which is apparently pretty impressive in 3 years. So, you know, people have had some tremendous reviews. People come send me personal messages saying I've really enjoyed it. You know, so I think it's hitting a lot of not just motorbikers, not just, but people certainly who lived in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even younger females read it and have really enjoyed it as well.
Right. I saw the reviews. I saw a lot of I read a lot of them, and they were all fantastic. And I can tell you what the lore is of the book. The fact that you were not a, filmmaker or, writer or any of that. You were just a young man trying to find yourself and said, you know what? I love my bike. I'm going to go to friggin' Australia. And during the time that you did it is very important too. So that's what people, in my opinion, that's what appears to draw people to the book, is that not only your story, because you're telling just a basic true story of something that happened to you. And that's kind of what people want. They don't want the NYU prose of what happened to you. I mean, I wouldn't, that would be a boring book to me. You know what I'm saying? So nobody cares about if I got a PhD in writing, and I don't care. I want to give me that story. What did you do? Did you meet any cute girls? What was the wildest thing that you did? I want to know all that. you know.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's what's all nitty and gritties there.
yeah,
I left a wee bit out, but I've got $2, so I couldn't. There's some things I couldn't put in.
yeah, I know. Part two coming near you. Part two is coming up. But I can't wait to do the other one. So that's going to be amazing because the comparison. I mean, we all go through life, right? And we all want to find ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, who would not want to hear a story from somebody who did that? I can't imagine it would be like, I don't want to hear that. It's like, what? We all want to figure out a way. So if I read your way and her way and his way and their way, I might find my way.
Yeah.
I
mean, you don't need to ride around the world on a motorbike. I think it's just important just to go get away from people and go your own distance.
Well, reading the book, you'll find that. I think you'd find that oh well, I don't have to literally leave. Maybe I just need to be more active. Maybe I just need to be doing what I love. You know what I'm saying? Like there's tons of
certainly at 60, 66 now, I'm sort of, a lot of my friends are retiring, and you ask them what they're doing with themselves, and they're just sitting in the garden and playing golf a couple of times a week, and they've worked their lives without any build up or plan what they were actually going to do when they were retired, and the family's gone away, there's no job. And it's amazing. I think it's one of the most extreme sort of changes of life that happens in your whole life. When you're younger, you go to school, you go to university, everything's a small steps as you go along. Right. But actually retiring is like falling off a cliff as such, because your job's gone, family's gone probably at the same time. You're going to have to take a cut in your money as well, probably.
That's true.
You're so busy working and looking after your family, you don't know what to do with yourself. So this is quite a dramatic change in life.
That's another book.
Yeah, working on it.
Another book, Finding My Senior.
I'm trying not to take another 40 years to write this one.
That's actually hysterical. That would be funny. I mean, you never know. Let me see.
Well, you know that.
You might live to be 100. I mean, it's possible. The lady in France was 114 or 15. And I heard she was sharp as a nail. So
I think my luck will run out before then, I think.
I could see you living to be 100 for sure.
I need to change my lifestyle a little bit.
Change it a little bit. So, what were some of the were there any challenges in balancing the humor in the book and the serious themes?
Well, I think being Irish, we do that all the time. We mix humor and bad times together quite well, because I think it's definitely an Irish thing. We sort of do tend to laugh at things and laugh at something that's gone wrong. Some people call it a bit of a sixth sense of humor, but it's just the way we do it.
Well, we do it too. Our culture definitely does it too.
Yeah.
Well, we do it too.
But I tried to get a bit. I mean, I suppose the books thinking back, books I've enjoyed, there's been a bit of emotion, been a bit of humor in them as well. You got to, as I say, I did a couple of writing courses to learn different techniques and so on.
Okay.
So I try to make every page tell a story of some sort. There's an awful lot of books you read sometimes, and you read and go, "This is, what's happening here?" You're just full of nonsense. The guy's going off the script. So try to keep it all focused, and this is what's happening.
Nice. Did you encounter any unexpected reactions from people that you met along the way?
Well, yeah, I mean, especially in Africa, it was most of Africa was just coming out of its colonial stage.
Which part of Africa was you in?
Well, it started in Egypt and went down through Sudan and Uganda just after Idi Amin. Kenya was a bit rough, but Kenya had fallen out with Tanzania. They'd closed their border.
Yes, those are some of my people. Wow.
Yeah, Zambia got arrested because, well, I need to read the book for that.
Really?
Arrived in Rhodesia just as they were
transiting.
Through Rhodesia, Zimbabwe, Rhodesia, they were just transitioning then.
Mm-hmm.
So the timing was quite good, because whenever I left Belfast, I couldn't have planned it, but there was still a war going on in Rhodesia.
Right.
But by the time I got there, the ceasefire started, and they were transitioning over to the new government.
Wow. And you weren't scared at all? There wasn't one moment that you were like, maybe I better go back home?
I was scared once, and that was pretty much the whole trip. from the start to the end, because it really was a trip of you not knowing what's going to happen next. Drove out
Yeah.
of Sudan without a map further south. I had to find a guy who was going north, and he gave me his map of Southern Africa, and I gave him my map of Northern Africa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas last couple of years, doing it with GPS, and you never get lost. You always know where you are.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I don't know. Maybe because I'm a girl. Maybe that's why I'd be a little bit. Even though I take that back because I was not scared at all when I was in Paris. I went places that I can't believe. I look back and say, "What are you, an idiot?" When you think of today's times, and that women go on places unsafe. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't believe I actually did that. Like even on dates, like I didn't know them. Like
Yeah.
so unless you meet them at a public place, it's not smart to go to that cute little cozy street on the side restaurant in France. You know how those roads can go around.
Yeah. That
I
wasn't
didn't know
in
where I was
the dark alley. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know where I was at, and until I got to know it, I didn't know where I was at. So I look back and say, "Wow, you're an idiot." But
you do have to sort of put your trust in people to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And even last year, going through Tehran,
Wow.
I was following these guys. They're supposed to take me to a hotel, and I ended up in this dark alley, and they stopped the car in the middle of nowhere. And another car turned up, and I thought, "She's really dropped myself into this time."
Right.
But the guy just called his brother to come and see me because he could speak English, and he was able to take me to.
Oh, really?
So you these places with full of misconceptions,
Uh-huh.
and generally,
sorry, but I can
generally
see
people
that.
are nicer than you think they're going to be,
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, that's that piece you just said. I can totally see that in the film. Where you're like, oh my God, the car pulls up and you're like, oh my God. And you say, blah, 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 whatever he's saying to you. And you're like, oh, I don't know. What do you want? Here, take my wallet. And it's like, oh, you need an interpreter. It's like, wait, what? It's like, oh,
yeah, no, I think if you're on a motorbike, you've got an advantage because people will give you some sort of respect for trying to cross their country. They know you're trying to cross their country, and they don't want you to leave your country with a bad impression of it.
Right.
So they will be nice to you, on the whole.
Yes.
Get the odd one. Usually the guys in uniforms are the ones that give you hassle rather than the general people on the ground,
Yes, absolutely. No, that is true. And I do think other places, they have a couple of moral code standings, which is why they may not do crazy stuff. Although I did, I watched people in Paris in the 80s get mugged around me with tear gas. It's like they spray it in your face or something.
Yeah.
But I'm originally, I'm an orphan from Brooklyn. And then I went to Bedford, but originally that's where I'm from. So I can always go back.
Don't mess about with girls from Brooklyn.
They were all these people, pure daylight. It was somewhere in the Trocadero. I forgot where I was at, but it was like all these people and they were like getting their money. And then they came to me and he was like, I said, no, it's not going to happen today. Yeah. You got the wrong one. So I didn't get mugged, but
I think that's half the battle is actually pretending you're not scared of these people, because if somebody's trying to give you a hard time, if they see you're scared of them, they know they've won. It's just a matter of getting your wallet out of their pocket and giving it, taking it from you.
He wasn't getting my money.
If you're not scared, if you can put a show, even if you're shitting yourself, if you can put up a brave face and just say, "What do you want?" Back to them, they will A, give you a bit of respect, and B, they'll go for something easier.
They definitely will, because all the other tourists was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this!" Whatever country they came from, they were speaking their language, saying, "Oh, they were clearly ruffled." But me, I was looking like, "You try it if you want to. You can try it if you want to." But
that's the right attitude.
Yeah,
it worked far with that attitude.
Well, I was a punk rocker then, even though I modeled, but I was really a little punk in my head. So I was.
Well, I would know not to mess around with a New Yorker anyway, I'm sure.
And I was only a size 3 then, but I will handle my business. If you attack me, it's going down. I would never touch anybody, but if you attack me, it's going down. So thank God it worked out. That was my funniest story in traveling. Have I ever had any of them? No, I don't think I've ever had any. I've had some good wild ones where one of my friends, his dad was like an oil tycoon, and so he was like, let's get on my boat. And we get on their boat. It's this huge, whatever, yacht. I don't know what you call it, yacht, boat, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, we're just going to go. We're going to go to Morocco. So we went to Morocco from was it Madrid? I think it was Madrid. I mean, that was my wildest story. Like, okay, I'm on a boat.
Morocco could be pretty wild.
And we're going to, I mean, we have fun. We have fun. There was no sinister stuff going on back then.
Yeah.
Now, today, that could have turned into excuse the expression, a Diddy story. But thank God it was not that kind. This person was on the up and up. Their family was beautiful family. Then they were just young people, young rich people having fun, and I got to tag along. So that's how that worked out. But that's what adventures can bring you to. You never know.
Yep, that's the nice thing about it. Well, it's a nice thing about going the wrong way. As you say, just going somewhere you haven't got any information on it. It's going to be more exciting. It's going to be more interesting than people these days. You look up any town, any restaurant, any hotel, all the information's online. And then you get there, you're probably going to be disappointed because it's not going to look as nice as the photographs said were going to look like. So it's
found that a lot. Yeah, they find that a lot. But I personally like on the last minute spur, just like, okay, let's go.
Let's go for it.
Why not? Let's gamble on this one. Let's see what happens. You just got to make sure it's the right season for some places, because then you don't get stuck in snow. Like I wouldn't be in the Swiss Alps and I didn't bring a jacket or.
Oh, I've been there. I've done that one.
You did that one. Wow. So some
across the Alps on a motorbike in November is not a good idea.
What? In November?
Yeah.
Wait. How did you? Wasn't it like a lot of snow?
There's a lot of snow. Yeah. I got
I can imagine Burr for you. I'm Burr. I'm cold for you. That's another story. Another book. Not the Guzzi in Switzerland.
No.
Or it's wherever.
As I said, I've done a few stupid things.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. I can't wait. I can't wait to read the rest of this. Where did you learn the most valuable internal lesson when writing this book?
Probably crossing Africa, because crossing Sudan from the deserts in the north to dirt tracks in the south. At one stage I had to travel for about 600 miles with 2 jerry cans of petrol in the back of the bike. So highly overloaded with no, and it really is just jungle, at that stage. No roads.
Wow.
It's pretty hectic. So that was probably the most trying part of the whole trip, because it was sort of life or death at that stage,
Yeah. Well, which city was your most favorite, like for food or architecture or the people?
That's a bit of a trick question in a way, because you think back to somewhere that you liked, and you realize usually it's maybe not even so much because it's the city that you liked, it's actually the fact that you were with people that you liked when you were there. You're having a good time with the people. And certainly had a good time at places like Cape Town and Miami. A good time, places like that. Okay. Actually, London is hard to beat. London's one city I'm very fond of, because everything goes on. Everything you want is in London. The whole world's there.
Oh yeah, and they have a whole new world. Like some parts, like everything's closed. It's at 6:00, and then by 10, everyone's asleep in bed and the shutters are closed. But if you go down to Soho, there's a whole new world. It's like, wait, what? Where am I? Gambling? Wait, it's 2 a.m. What? Right? So
I mean, it's more who you were with and what sort of a good time did you have when you think back to somewhere. It was a really nice city, but actually it was the fun that you're having was the fun part,
Yeah. It's really the people you're with is very key, very key, because they can make it or break it. And I think back even in Paris, the first time I went, I only went with $250. I came back with $250. Back then it was like I think it was £8, like 8 francs per.
A lot of money then, yeah.
That's when the life was really good. That's when we had benefits of jobs. This life was really good. But I remember coming back, and my friend was like, "You didn't spend your money?" I said, "I didn't have to. Like I tried to spend it, but I just couldn't. Like especially depending on who you're hanging around with. Like a lot of my Italian friends, they won't let me spend a penny. The guys are like, no, they want to pay for everything. That's just the way they do it. That's just part of the, I don't know if it's part of the culture or whatever it is, but I loved it. I didn't mind. I had no complaints. Yeah, and my other friends, like one of my friends' parents owned one of the famous hotels there. So like I didn't really need money. Like I can't explain it, but I didn't really need any. So, but I've been without like years ago. I went for my birthday a couple years ago, and I've been between then and then with not the same circumstances of being a model, making money, and it's a little different. It's a little different.
Well, the same money doesn't make you happy, but it certainly stops you being unhappy.
For sure. Yeah,
the person who wrote that hasn't actually been in the state where he didn't have any money. It's certainly.
I can have fun with or without in any country, as long as I know. Show me where there's certain things I need to know first. Like show me where the poorest area is, then show me where the fun area is that certain people go. Like I ask for every little detail, and I learn it from the locals. And when I find out, okay, this is where the locals go for the real food, or this way, then I'm like, I don't really need. I can live on $10 a day.
Yeah. Well, we used to go to, when we were going through South America, I had a guidebook which gave you the top hotels and the bottom hotels, and the bottom hotels it says don't go here, don't go here, don't go here. And those are the hotels we would go to because they were usually a couple of dollars a night, so it's where the locals went. So that's where we went as well.
What's a little noise through the ceiling?
Yeah.
little paint dropping off.
Kind of shoot that. But yeah, I mean, I left home to go to Australia, which I knew would take me about 3 or 4 months at the max. So I had about £1,000 with me, which is probably about £5,000 now.
Yeah.
But I had to string that out for a year and a half practically with a bit of work here and there. But yeah, it makes a difference. And this trip, when I'm obviously older, I've got a bit more money behind me now. So it does make a difference if you've got a Visa card in your pocket. You can get out of jail. If you're tired, you can book in a nice hotel and have a bath, whatever, whereas when I was 21, it was you camping at the side of the road, finding somewhere you could get somewhere out of sight, but not too out of sight,
Yeah. I did youth hostels when I first went. It was pretty cool.
And they're okay, but it had to be somewhere you could park a motorbike off the roads. Very often you couldn't youth hostel in town because they didn't have parking.
Oh, I didn't think of
that.
And
you knew you were traveling places, if you left a motorbike outside all night, it wouldn't be there in the morning. So a lot of times South America, certainly in Africa, it'd be ground floor rooms. You could actually bring the hotel and bring the bike into your room.
Okay.
So they go after it,
Definitely want to do that wherever you go, anywhere. So because you don't know the area, like some parts.
No, it could be, but you can tell when people are looking at you that they're not used to seeing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They would like that bike.
Yeah, well, they didn't tell me about the airport the first time I've been to Italy a lot of times since, but the first time I went to Italy, nobody warned me that I was the walking poster child for, hey, sucker. It's like, yeah, we'll take you, no problem. We'll take you into the town, no problem. It's only $500, or 500, whatever, lira, whatever, wherever country. That's what people didn't warn me about. But luckily I had common sense, so the guy didn't get me, but he almost got me. Because I was like, is there any other way? I think common sense. It's an airport. There has to be a way to get to the town. There has to be, besides this guy, there has to be another way. So I figured it out. He was mad because I figured it out. But I was like, listen, I was an orphan. and he's like, what is this? At that time, I didn't speak any Italian, so I couldn't tell him too much. But it was funny. I love traveling. I think it's the best thing for the soul.
It's good for the soul, it's good for your mind, and it stops you. Otherwise, time just goes by. It's good to have that's where I was there, that's where I was there. So
and you get to see the world, like see how God created the other side.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, to me, it boggles my mind every time I try. And I've traveled some places over and over and over and over again. But every time I get there, I'm like, wow. Like Paris is one of those places for me. Like, wow.
Yeah. Paris is a bit like London, like that. But yeah, no, there's other cities. I mean, I think we're sort of brainwashed into telling us who's the good guys and who are the bad guys. But it's when you go to somewhere like Iran that you find that people are friendliest that you could ever find. Do anything for you to make your stay nice. What's this? What's this all about? What have we been told over the news? These guys are the sort of the devil, but actually they're just really nice people.
Yes, I've seen that as well. That they demonize some people, and you get there and you're like, My God, these are like the best people in the world. Are you kidding? They're just so kind, and even if they have 2 cents, they want to give it to you. They want to share with you, and just engage. It's amazing. I don't listen to people who tell me, it's nice to hear that warning, whatever that is. But I said, I judge people by their character. So as soon as they show me that that's who they are, then that's okay. Then I walk away and I'm done. But I don't want to preconceive, especially when you're traveling. I don't want to preconceive like, oh my God, if I go to this area, I'm going to get, something this is going to happen or that's going to happen. You really can't really travel like that, I don't think.
No, you have to have an open mind, and you do have to put yourself at risk a wee bit by being friendly with people that you're not sure of, But generally, the world's
yes, it is.
nice people,
Mm-hmm. There's more good people out there than there are bad. I truly believe that, and I can tell people tons of stories of how literally angels from out of nowhere saved me from many things and many times, many adventures. So I say traveling is it. How did traveling outside of your comfort zone change your thinking? Because that's very important. That's what the beauty of traveling.
Mm-hmm. Well, as you say, you're out of your comfort zone. When you're at home, you've got your family, you've got friends, you've got work, you've got hospitals, you've got Medicare, you've got policemen if anything goes wrong. There's always somebody, whatever could go wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, there's somebody that you can ring your phone or talk to. But if you're traveling on your own, certainly in the good old days, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you really are on your own. If you get yourself into trouble, you got to get yourself out of it. So it does teach you to be a lot more resilient. And we see a lot of 21-year-olds running around town these days.
Mm-hmm.
They break down if they don't have their mobile phone with them to play games on. People get so used to having people to do things for them, and having a parachute, whatever it is, to anything that happens to them, they can phone mommy or phone daddy or whatever, phone a friend. So much health and safety and care, people from cradle to grave in the West. Certainly, if you're in a third world country, you're on your own. You really are on your own. If you get yourself into trouble, you got to get yourself out of it.
Yes, and you have to use your common sense. Like some people.
And that's the lesson learned me. Been in business most of my life. I think banks in the credit crunch 15 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up having to self-litigate against the banks to get my properties back. A strange thing to think of, but I couldn't have done that if I hadn't driven across the Sahara Desert on a motorbike.
Wow.
Because you had to think, well, this guy's intimidating. The judge is giving me a hard time, but actually, he's just a guy with a funny suit on.
Right. Wow. See, I mean, traveling in so many ways helps people, I think. And there are some people who travel and don't enjoy, they may enjoy it like physically, but they don't mentally understand what that really is. They think it is. I just took a plane from here to there, and I'm here. Look, and they take selfies and pictures, but that's not what traveling is about.
No.
In my opinion, it's about going to the market and seeing people from all over the world actually engaging and having a great time, and race doesn't even come up at all.
Mm-hmm.
That was my other side. but you know what I'm saying? Like I love when you go to a market and anywhere, even in Paris or anywhere. I'm trying to think of other places. I've never had a problem, but I've been in a store in other places in the U.S. particularly, where an incident will actually happen just based on me being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah,
that's what I.
That can happen anyway.
Yeah, traveling will make you more aware of your surroundings and appreciate different people. You know what I'm saying? You appreciate the value that you bring from Belfast. You know what I'm saying? And not, oh, he's from Belfast, or you know what I'm saying? I would like to hear an accent from me. Some people say,
people around the world generally do like talking to somebody new that they can see a motorbike and see you're different. They want to ask you questions. They want to find out what life's like with you, as well as you learning what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly anywhere I've been, people have been there to help you on your way, be maybe part of the trip, a long distance trip like mine. Mm-hmm. But anyway, you don't have to do that. You can go to just about, well, just there's a lot of countries in the world you can't go to now. But generally, just getting out of town,
Yes.
away from the big
Yes.
city, you'll see the genuine people.
Yes. I love it. I love traveling. It's the best. I think it's the best gift in the world. If someone wants to give their kids something, let them see the world. That'll help them a lot. I know time is wrapping up so quickly, but I want to ask you one last thing, and then you can tell us where to find you. What do you want readers to take away from going the wrong way? Like, do you have any advice for those who may be really going the wrong way in their lives?
Yeah, I mean, I think the advice is don't give up. Whatever it is stopping holding you back. There's always a way around it. There'll always
Mm,
be a tomorrow, unless there's something. Well, not always, but generally there will be something will happen to get you. You can be sitting in a position. I don't know how I'm
mm,
going to get out of this one, but something
mm.
will happen. Tomorrow will come and
Yes.
it will roll on. But you just got to keep banging away to find a way through it.
Yes.
Resilience and perseverance are the two things you really need to do.
Yes.
And no matter what age, and that's for 21-year-olds who are short of experience but high in energy, and 65-year-olds who are long in experience and low in energy. It's just a different balance. But for both situations, you just need to keep going, bang away
Mm.
at it.
Wow. Yeah, keep going. That's the key theme for me. Keep going, no matter what happens. Keep it going.
Yeah.
But I thank you so much for taking the time. Are you working on any new projects right now?
Well, I'm writing a book about the last trip, or the recent one, which is going to be called Adventure Before Dementia.
Oh, well, that's good. I like it.
Yeah,
Make sure you come back, please. Make sure you come back.
will do.
Set a date when it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to say, it's the angle. It's just as I say, I'm just talking about people my age, how I feel at my age, the same as when I was 21. That was the age I was thinking of,
Mhm.
and it's this perspective that I was working from then.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, the book's available on Amazon. It's going really well. It's great reviews, over 1,400 5-star reviews, which
Nice.
is pretty amazing. It's on an ebook, hardback, paperback, and an audiobook,
Mhm.
which has got
Nice.
some great reviews as well.
Yes, I put it
Um,
up here. Let's see, guys. I put the link. Hopefully, I gave you the right one, and not the one. Wait, is this the one? Oh, I put it here. I'm so backwards. Wait, I meant to put it in the comments. Wait, comments. Why didn't that work out for me? Huh. I'm not sure, but you guys know. I'll put it up on my page for sure. Okay.
Going the wrong way. It's on. I just put "Going the Wrong Way" by Chris Donaldson on Amazon, and it'll come up.
Yes.
Um, it's on I have a website called chrisdonaldson.world, which you can
Oh,
order it from there as well.
Chris Donald
Donaldson
World.
World, yeah.
World. Okay, let's see if I can get this right. Let me see. Hopefully that's right. Like that.
But I mean, Amazon is amazing compared to, say, 30, 40 years ago. I can write a book in Ireland and sell a book to people in Australia, people in America, people in Africa, anywhere. It's amazingly what technology has brought to us in the last number of years.
Yeah, no, that's the beauty. I'm trying to write this thing down so I can put it out there. That's the beauty of today is while I get the book at Amazon, yeah. While I believe that modern technology will be the death of us, I also believe right now I'm willing to just go around with the gas mask on until until it all ends.
Well, it's like Amazon. I used to work in retail, and Amazon is the killer of all the high streets. The killer, they're going to put everybody out of business the way they're going. But then when you want to buy something, where are you going to go? Bloody Amazon.
You can't win. Like it's like,
No,
well, you have an iPhone, and you have a Mac. How are you helping the Earth?
I know.
I don't know.
You go with
I'm trying.
take the easy route.
Yeah. Well, it was a present, so that's I
Yeah.
took the present. Guilty as charged. So we're working on ourselves. I don't know what to do. It's become a good
But
challenge.
you can't fight what's going forward. You can't fight technology. But
True.
as you say, what's going to happen at the end of the day with AI? It is a bit scary.
AI. A lot of people are losing their jobs because of AI.
Yep.
And they keep saying, no, they're not going to lose their job. I'm like, they already have. Like, so what are you talking about? So we'll see. It's all good. I believe where there is lack, there is plenty.
Yeah,
Where there's,
no, there's
you know,
good sides to it. I mean, I couldn't have written a book without spell checker.
the spell checker. Now that's good. Now that's when things get a little like, oh, maybe this could work if it could help me, because
Yeah,
you might not have a second eye,
yeah,
So that is true. I mean, I wish I had a second eye, but I say I can't don't use it. So because then the more you feed the beast, is how
yeah.
I feel. So, but if you got to do it, then you do what you got to do. That's all I say. It's just, it is what it is. So guys, do me a favor, try to go out and get the book if you can. Wait, let me see if I can find it again. There it is. I put it up right here. Okay. Going the Wrong Way, Chris Donaldson. You can get it on Amazon, and you can get it at his site, which I just put up here. Where did I just put it? I put it in the comments. That's why. You can go to chrisdonaldson.world and get the book. Either way, get it. It's a great story, and if nothing else, you will maybe find within yourself, like, what am I doing to stay that's keeping me stagnant, right?
Yeah.
And you may not, like you said, you may not be able to take a trip to Australia or try ride in your Moto Guzzi. You might not be able to do that, but I'm sure there's something you can do. Whether that's you bring the fun to your town, you're a writer and you start your writers group, or whether that you go to a place that has support for writers, whatever that is. So it doesn't have to be big and grand, but whatever it is.
I mean, with any of these things, the hardest thing is actually getting off your ass and starting to do it. Once you've actually started the task, it's like going to the gym. The hardest thing about going to the gym is actually getting to the front door. Once you get inside, you're there, you're working away. It's not that bad. It's just the mental sort of blockage you have. So just get up and do it.
That's it. Get up and do something. But I thank you guys so much for watching today. We appreciate you. And I appreciate you, Chris Donaldson, for coming to see us, hang out for 1 minute while I say goodbye to everybody. Bye, guys. I will see you next Sunday at 4:00. Next Sunday. All right. Bye for now. No, say 1 moment.